So, what does nobody tell you about the paperwork, the documentation side of things when you are coming to Germany?
People who have already researched about going abroad know that there is a lot of paperwork involved. The longest part for me was the visa process, obviously. Before coming here, is that they will have to make it on their own.
One line directly into the camera.
One is do it, actually do it.
It just gets started after your offer letter.
It just gets started after you land in Germany. That is when you actually start.
Hi, I'm Priya Rao, and this is Rebooted, the show where we talk about the future of work, education, and what it actually takes to build a career in Germany. Today's guest didn't have it easy on paper. He scored a 300 on his GRE attempt for TU BAF, which needed a 305. Most people would have stopped there. This is Bhagya Bhardwaj, currently pursuing his MBA at TU Berg Academy, Freiburg, on a zero tuition seat, and who is about to head into his next semester abroad. We are going to talk about everything that happened between that GRE score and where he is now, the visa, the paperwork, the cultural shock, and the 5 things nobody mentions after you get the admission letter. Let's get into the interview. So, Bhagya, thank you so much for joining the session, joining the episode today. And to begin with, welcome to the episode.
Thank you so much, Priya.
You scored a 300 on your GRE seat. We all remember that time when it was a disappointment and you were waiting for your TU BAF letter, and the whole admission letter depended on this score, right? And we knew
Sure.
that TU Berg Academy Freiburg wanted a 305. So most people would have taken that as a sign to give up. What made you sit for it again?
Well, what made me sit for it again was obviously the tag of a TU, a technical university. It is one of the universities that offers an English speaking MBA program. There are not many universities that do that in Germany. And well, GRE was something that I planned not to appear for. And that is one of the reasons why I chose Germany, because it was a very profile based system rather than an academic exam based system. But later on, when I did my research and when I was about to give my GRE, I got to know that there is mathematics involved there, and mathematics has always been something that has scared me throughout my school life as well. So I think I shared it with you also, that probably you could provide me a pathway where I don't have to prepare for something to get into a German university. But later on, I realized that this is nothing but a screening method for German universities, which are so prestigious and they do not offer a tuition fee as well, to screen out the candidates. And that is when I realized that if I want to attend a course with a quality cohort, this is something I will have to go through. And that is what made me realize that I will have to sit for this exam. And obviously, there is also a sense of achievement involved once you clear the exam, that you actually deserve a seat here. So I think that is what was the primary driver for me.
And I want to ask you, when your first attempt at GRE and before you did the first attempt, I remember the fear that you had about maths. What was
Yeah.
your learning in that first attempt?
So when I gave my first attempt, I was already pretty short on time with the visa timelines and everything and the admission. I studied for 2 or 3 weeks. I used YouTube. I didn't take coaching per se because the time did not allow, but I went through videos through YouTube and other resources, and I went and gave my exam. And I was primarily scared about maths. And there is another element involved in the exam, which is very complex vocabulary, English vocabulary. So that is what I was not worried about, because we as Indian students have the English vocabulary integrated into our academics since the very beginning. So that is something I did not pay a lot of heed to. But on the actual exam day, when I sat and was attempting the exam, I realized that math is not much of a problem as much as English was, and how we neglect English because we think that we have been introduced to it since the very beginning. So after the exam, I think I would have gotten my desired score in the first attempt if I would have paid more attention to the vocabulary and the English part of GRE. So I realized after the exam what I thought was the primary hurdle for me in GRE was not actually the hurdle. And I obviously changed my strategy when I sat for the second attempt. And I think that's what helped me and that's what increased my score.
Fantastic. This is particularly a question I want to ask because we have a lot of students who tend to be very worried about GRE, and it takes us a lot of time to motivate them. And I
Correct.
often end up quoting your story that your first fear was about maths, but you
Yeah.
came back feeling so much more confident about maths and you decided to actually go all in for your English language skills to get your score up to a 305. So good job done on that part. So it's really good.
Yeah.
My second question to you is why Germany and why TU Buff? Did Germany even factor into your plan a year before or a year ago this entire planning happened, or did that change?
The thing is, Germany and my story starts from when I was in the fourth standard and I took German as a third language only with an incentive in mind that we used to have this German exchange program. So me and my friend wanted to go to that program. And that's why we studied German in school for 6 years. And at that time, I really liked the German culture, whatever our teacher told us in school about how the Germans live. And obviously, there was this thing in the back of my mind that if I study this language for 6 years, probably I would have a chance to go to Germany, visit. So there was that excitement. Later in life, I did not have any plans to move out of India at all. But after 2 years of working, that was looking like a logical step for me to also do my master's since I had done my bachelor's here. Later, I found a lot of interest for music and arts. So that is another thing that intrigued me to come to Germany and probably study here, also study the music and art culture here. And later, when I did more research, Germany has one of the best established research programs and educational institutions. And the cherry on the top is obviously the public universities. So that was the final nail for me that I wanted to come to Germany. But I was misinformed by some other sources that with my profile here in India, the education and academic profile, I would probably not be able to land an admission in Germany. So I dropped the plan. And I think a year later, I met you, and then we know what happened. You were able to guide me properly. You evaluated my profile, gave me options. So that is why I finally chose Germany to come to. And yeah, that's about it.
And I think I was also very tough on you for the retake of the GRE, even though you were almost giving up, but then you decided to
Yes.
do it, and that made all the difference. I think, we push students a lot. Sometimes we feel that the students are sitting on the fence, still thinking, should I not do it? So we want to push them at that time without giving them too much time to think, because sometimes you do tend to go in a negative many times students just give up. I have a lot of such cases, but you prove to be otherwise.
Correct, correct. And also, I think you told me there is no other option. Think about it
Yes.
like you don't have any other admits. You don't have any. This is the only thing you have. And what would you rather do? Would you rather waste 1 year of entire hard work involving the paperwork, the GRE, the IELTS, or would you rather cross this barrier and just go ahead with it? So I think that is what also encouraged me that there is nothing left barring trying to go for a GRE. So and that happened.
Fantastic. I think I'm really proud of the journey that you took, and you decided to beat your brain in the game and score the score that you wanted. How much time, I would like the audience to know that in how much time of you giving the 305 score to the university did you get the result?
I got it immediately. I got an admit which was conditional to a GRE. So it was communicated by the university as soon as you get your score, and in GRE you get the score as soon as you finish the exam, and you also have an option to send it directly to the university from the center itself. That is free of cost, and you get an option to send it to 5 universities from there. I only had one that I had to send it to, and as soon as I did it, I think within a day or a day and a half, I got the acceptance letter and the admission letter. So it was pretty fast, but it was fast because I already had a conditional admit. Usually for
Correct.
people who don't have a conditional admit also, it is a week or a week and a half.
Okay. Very nice. And why don't you tell everybody, for everyone's consumption, what exactly are you pursuing at TU Bayek Academy?
So I am pursuing a master's in business administration right now with a specialization in international business. And resources in emerging economies. So, and it is an English taught course. There are only two universities, I think, in Germany which do provide, two or three, that provide a tuition free MBA program, and TU Berg Academy is one of those.
Fantastic. So you are on a zero tuition MBA in Germany. Usually MBAs in Germany would cost anything in a private university, anything between a 13,000 euros per year to as much as sometimes a 30,000 euros per year in some really good universities like an RWTH Aachen, which has some private programs as well.
Correct.
So what did people around you say when you spoke about a zero tuition fees option that you have now received?
Well, a lot of people now are pretty well informed about this concept in not only in Germany but most parts of Europe, because of social media and other things. But earlier, no one actually knew it, and also most of the people in my circle and people I talked to had no knowledge about this. So they were pretty surprised that I was able to do this here at the same cost, or probably much lesser than what an MBA would cost in India from all the prestigious institutions. So yeah, people were shocked, and but there are also other costs involved. The tuition fee is something which is a major chunk of expenses when you are outside of your country. But yeah, people were shocked because most of them were not well informed about this.
Was there ever a time during this entire process you thought that I'm not getting this?
Yes, a lot of times, especially when I started my GRE prep and the time between my first and second attempt, I was thinking that I will not be probably able to give a third attempt. I would not have it in me. But I think I got over that pretty fast because
You did,
one thing
yeah.
that helped. Yeah, please go ahead.
You did get over it very fast. I agree.
So I just think that time was not something that I had on my side, which is one thing that actually helped me, because it was kind of a ticking clock on my head that I have to do it right now, else I will probably waste the entire year that I prepared to actually go to the country. So that was the time that I was feeling a little skeptical about clearing the GRE and getting the desired score, but I think it helped me later. Yeah.
And I think the whole entire window for all of these applications is a very tight squeeze for anybody helping you or even you doing your application yourself. You know, it's like just a small, short 2-minute window, 2-month window. So you either do it, you make it, or you break it, kind of a thing. So, and I think technically it's really good that it puts you on a spot that, you have to make it work for yourself. And I think that's what happened with you, which is very, very good. And see, you're already in Germany and enjoying yourself. I'm really happy to see you enjoying the country.
No, it's all thanks to you.
So, what does nobody tell you about the paperwork, the documentation side of things when you are coming to Germany?
People who have already researched about going abroad know that there is a lot of paperwork involved. Not only if you come to Germany, but even if you go to other places. What is special about Germany is their bureaucracy is also just very, very intensive. So they still believe on things being more on paper rather than digitizing things. So it is very important, I think, if you make a decision that you want to come to Germany, that you start pretty early, and the sources where you get your information from should be the ones who have been in this game for a long, long time, who know what they're doing. Because misguided students is a big problem wherever they're going. If they're coming to Germany, going to all other places which are right now the hubs for education, the sources of information should be right, which is the base for you to start your applications to look for institutions you want to go to. So that is, I think, one thing people should research about, because that creates a foundation for you to start your applications.
I so agree with this, because this was one of the reasons why I started WorkPoint. This month I complete 2 years of my company, and I think this was one of the main reasons why I decided to be able to guide students correctly. And there are so many times, I always tell this, that we don't know everything today. We were not born with German higher education learning. We are learning every day, but yes, we are not stopping to learn. We will not say that we know something when we don't know it. And we are very honest and direct about it. This is also something I feel that some people think we are overwhelming them with a lot of information, but we don't want to hold on to an information just to prepare the person that this is possible. I think the bigger challenge that we face when we are guiding students is that if it was America, where you would be paying 100,000 per year or a 200,000 per year for really big Ivy League and big programs, they don't question the process. But when it
Correct.
comes to Germany, because it is a free education or a zero tuition fee kind of an option, they think that it is cheaply or easily available, and that
Correct.
becomes a bigger challenge for us, to sometimes to tell them that if it is free, it is not freely available. So you
Correct.
have to really, and that's one of the reasons that just by you scoring the right number on your GRE, your ranking went up.
Yeah.
And German university is all about ranking the student rather than, we in India, we usually do. We tend to rank the university and only then decide to apply that. Is it a number
Yes.
one? Is it a number two? So I
Yeah.
think this is also an awareness that has to be created, and people need to know about it, that it's not the university in progress, the work in progress, but the student himself. So
Correct.
and to rank better, to get into these top universities where you get to study for free, then it is worth that effort, that little Herculean effort that it might seem like, and then enjoy the fruit of it once
Yes.
it comes your way, So
Exactly. Yes.
yes. So the day the offer letter came, I remember that day very, very clearly. That was last year. What was
Yes.
your to-do list the next morning? Tell us
My
about your excitement. Tell us about what you felt in that moment, that finally there is something concrete in your hand and you are ready to move. You have to move. So, what was your next task?
So I was in the center and there was one other girl with me, and there were only two of us giving the exam. She started a bit late, so I finished a little early. And as soon as I saw the score, shouted obviously, and she was making faces. I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm very excited, and I had to go out from there. And my first call was obviously to my mom and then to you, and it was great. I actually knew, and it was also hitting me that I might finally now leave home and go to Germany, what I've been working for the entire year. It was a good feeling, but the very next morning, obviously I knew I had a lot of things to do with packing, with the things to take, with my accommodation and everything, and I had to start the very next day because I was already late. People were already in line for all these things. It was very intensive. It was a very short-lived time. Also, I think I had 3 or 4 weeks, and I had to leave by October. So it was very intensive. I had to prepare, but my mom had prepared for almost all things beforehand, so I had a little easy. But it was intensive. I had very less time, but I was able to crunch in things.
So I think the funniest part in this episode, when you got your result and you sent me a message, right? You sent me
Yeah.
a WhatsApp, and the immediate next instance, your mom messages me saying that, oh my God, he's going to go away, and she was so sad. And it's funny because on the same WhatsApp window, a week ago, she was so stressed about your visa not coming through, and now your visa had come through. So
Correct.
this was after the visa had come through, and your mom was suddenly so worried that you will be going away.
Yeah.
So, of all of these processes that happened for you, visa, blocked account, housing, enrollment into the university, what took the longest and what surprised you the most?
The longest part for me was the visa process, obviously, because that is
Yeah.
something that I personally think India should now change. They go through a third party company, which obviously takes a lot of time, and I think that time is unnecessary. It puts a lot of burden and tension on students, and the process itself is very uninformative in the sense that there is a one-way communication. The children keep on inquiring about things, but there is obviously no reply from other agencies that are responsible for this. Can also be because they have a lot of applications, but I think the process should be a little bit more centric to the students. They should be informed from time to time that what is actually happening with their applications, when can they expect it by. That would ease the tension of the students a bit. But that was the longest process for me. And yeah, I think it took about 3 or 4 months, 2 or 3 months for the entire application for the to and fro communication with the embassy, and I finally got the visa.
Yeah. And you did arrive a little late into your session, right?
Yeah, I arrived 2 weeks later into my session, but since the first 2 weeks usually in Germany are the welcome week, So I didn't miss much on the academics, but yes, I did miss on the events and experiences before that. So that is one
in the
thing that
beginning?
I would love to have attended, but it's okay.
You could host the freshman year next year.
Correct. Yeah. I could probably
Yes.
done that.
Yeah. Okay, nice. And what's that one thing you assume that the university would handle for you and which it didn't?
I would not say that they don't handle anything, but with accommodations they were very proactive. It's just that I was late, so they weren't able to provide me that. With other things also, they are pretty helpful. But the one thing that people assume, especially when we come from India and all the institutions that are established there, is the help that the Indian institutes give in terms of job opportunities later. So once you are enrolled in an Indian MBA program, it is a given that at the end of the 1 year or the 2 year MBA that you do, you will be able to sit face to face with recruitees that will be called on by the university or arranged by the university to probably help you land a job, which is not there in any other country, not just in Germany, but any other country except India. So I just think that Germany here places much more importance to the holistic development of the candidate in terms of networking, in terms of finding opportunities for themselves, which is not the case in India. So I would just say that is one thing that I knew this before coming here, but the extent of it I didn't know before coming here. So I think that is one thing that is different. In other all other things, I think the university was pretty helpful because they also know that children are coming from a different country to an entirely different environment, and they provide as much assistance as they can to make the process smooth. So that's the only one difference I think. But all the other things were pretty smooth once I came here. And I went to the international office. Every university has an international office in their campus. So any student that has any kind of issues, be it with accommodation or anything else, they can go to them, and I think most of them are pretty helpful.
This is very good information, and also many times that because of the visa delays that I think we continue to face across the different cities from where visa can be applied for in India also particularly. The
Correct.
visa wait times are so long, it does tend to stress out the candidates, the students who are expected to come to Germany, and they get worried that will I be able to make it on time. And I often am trying to tell them that it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
can come late, visa can get processed late, but once you are enrolled, and they are only waiting for you to get started. So there is an option where you can get started in an online space. So there are many universities who give that online option as well, right? So did you
Correct.
also have that online option for you at the beginning?
I didn't have an online option, but what I had was a deferred admission. I could have
Okay.
deferred my admission to the next semester. So I went in for the winter semester. In case
Hmm.
I was late with the visa arrival, I had an option to start in the next semester. So that is always available, and 70 to 80% universities offer that option. And the remaining 30-20%, like you said, do have an option to probably start
Start online.
online. But that depends on universities.
But that's very nice. I think this is not something to be worried about, especially when you are coming into a public university. You can be rest assured that you will get your visa. So visa
Correct.
is never a problem usually in a public university application. However, interestingly, even public university students are now starting to get interviewed in India. So this is the new thing that is happening now. So I want to
But I think
also ask you,
important, yeah. Yes.
please, what?
No, I think this interview process is also very important because it is very important to add these barriers for Germany to get quality level of students and probably potential workforce. Because as you said, the public institutions, the zero tuition fees, that makes it a very lucrative option for people from India to probably come here and do an MBA at no cost. So since that cost barrier is gone, the other characteristics of a student to come in and study here should be evaluated properly. And I don't think there is any downside in creating a lot of barriers for these checks. I think they're important.
I
And
so agree with
yeah.
you. Yes. I think the recent the DMAT introduction is also quite a big check,
Hmm.
like a entry criteria now established for the master students, like we were discussing that day. And it is
Hmm.
amazing. We are very happy with this because then we show students in the right light, and we really
Yeah.
bring the students who are really interested to study and deserve those positions. Only those apply for such free seats. So
Yes.
yes, I think that is very good. I want to also ask you your first week on campus, right? So, and I mean, what felt completely different from an Indian classroom?
See, in India, the classroom experiences, especially when I was doing a bachelor's, I don't know if it has changed for masters now. I think it has changed in many places, but it was a one-way lecture where the students are sitting, absorbing knowledge, and the professor is providing that knowledge. And there was not a lot of discussion going on. Whereas when I came here, and I got into the model for economics and emerging markets. That was one of the subjects that I took in my first semester. The class felt less like a class, more like a discussion, more like the professor eliciting an opinion or a response from students, trying to get them involved and trying to actually know what they think about concepts, how they perceive a concept, and not the concept per se. So I think that was something that I really liked about here, that the professors are more interested in your opinions, what you think, like what is your thought structure, than just probably delivering a lecture and getting over with it. So that is what has been constant in mostly all of my modules. So I think that needs to be more prevalent now in India. We should shift from just a one-way lecture to more like a discussion. It keeps students engaged, and you don't actually know when the classes get over because you're so engaged in the process.
In
So
the
it makes it more
process.
fun.
Yeah, I so agree because a lot of our education system, which is now also disrupting at a very, very fast pace in India also. Many
Correct.
German universities are now setting up universities in India as branch campuses or their campuses, Indian campuses. So, and I do believe that mix of international universities coming into the country will have a massive impact, but there are
Yeah.
also some really good universities, like Plaksha University or Ashoka University in India, who are really able to make that big difference. But
Yeah.
yes, moving from that telling approach where a teacher is telling you what to do to a doing or a discussion approach can be a big disruption in the classroom setup, where a student is allowed to think out of the box and not
Correct.
there's no scope defined in that discussion. Yeah.
The academic freedom needs to be there for students to
Yes.
actually be interested in this subject. So I
Yes.
think that's
Yes.
something can be used right there.
I think the biggest move for you when you moved to Germany was independence, right? As when you are India, we are usually living with parents. So
Yeah.
this move, was it a good surprise or a hard adjustment?
It wasn't a hard adjustment for me. I was already living in Bombay for 1.5 years during the pre-COVID time for my bachelor's. So I think it was a hard move for me back then because it was the first time I was away from home, but not right now. And I actually enjoy my company more. I like to be alone usually. So it wasn't much of a big change. One good thing that came out of this, I didn't cook as much when I was living in Bombay. And when I had to come here and when I started cooking, that was a time when I started missing food at home, or when I started missing meals that would come to me rather than I go into the kitchen and making something for me. But now, eventually, like I think after 7, 8 months, I've started enjoying the process. I look forward to going home, cooking something for me, eating that. So it was not hard adjusting for me in that sense, but yes, everybody misses food at home. So that was
Of
the only
course.
thing. But I think
And
I've
the
started enjoying the process now.
Zomato and the Blinkit and the quick deliveries of few minutes.
Yes, yes. That
So
is
yes,
something
I
that
think
only
Indians are
India.
now really spoiled for choices.
Yeah.
Yes, choices and flavors and everything, I think. So, but
Correct.
and I think this particularly because of the speed at which a services deliveries are done or a service is received in India is also, I think, something I was not able to pinpoint when during my recent visit. And
Hmm.
I think this is the change I see from an Indian who I worked with last year to an
Hmm.
Indian who I am working with now. The Indian students I work with now, I feel it's a big stretch for them to repeat a test, for example, right?
Yeah.
Because in
Yeah.
their mind, everything is so easily available. So that is one thing I think we face a challenge in for sure.
Correct. There were a lot of people here as well in my cohort and other universities I know, when they came here and they got to know that you have to live an independent life here, everybody, even the Germans who are working, who are not working, they are in a habit of doing things themselves. They manage their house, they manage their kitchen, and that is something that is very inbred in them. So when students from India come here, and we people who come here are obviously from a privileged background in these senses that they have people doing things for them at home, which is a concept that is missing here. So they did tend to go back home because they were not able to cope here. So I think one thing that students need to keep in mind before coming here is that they will have to make it on their own. Help is not cheap and rarely available here. So that is one thing that I would like to say.
Yeah. No, it's a very, very good tip, and I hope some future student listening to this podcast today in that real time gets to know that I think moving internationally as a student, especially as a student, where your entire lives, you pack it into two suitcases and come to a brand new country, start from a brand new skill,
Yeah.
and the fear, everyday fear that will I be able to make it? Will I be able to understand a brand new language? Will I be able to handle the cold? That this is a cold country, and then I think an international move can be defined as such a large, broad skill because
Yeah.
your mind is perpetually in a fight or flight mode. You are always looking for smallest of opportunities, smallest of discounts, for an international student, and you learn how to be judicious with your time, with the money that you have at hand, and you become resourceful, and that's a skill that you don't have. You have to be pushed in the cold water sometimes, right, to think out of the box. Otherwise, our culture keeps us very safe with family, with parents taking care of us. It is all so perfect. Everything is taken care of. But yes, it is good that and good that you also made that move. And I want to ask you that what kind of skills is your MBA actually testing you on? So something that a GRE score never could. What is that kind of a skill that you are now acquiring in your MBA in Germany?
Well, I will talk about me personally and what I take from the program. I wouldn't say I was never encouraged to give my opinion or share my thoughts in my bachelor's. It was from a very nice university, and they had a very similar framework to what I am doing here right now. I did my bachelor's in business administration, but the skill here, I think, is very much aligned with the corporate world right now. It is not
Correct.
very academic in terms of I have to write a paper, I have to probably give presentations, but we actually study a lot of cases. We are given cases to solve. Our professor tries to arrange field trips in companies that are currently working with problems that usually arise in an international business setting or resource management setting, resource being people or actual natural resources. So I think a more practical approach and how to deal with things on ground is something that is happening with me and something that I am trying to pick from this course. And there are not many technical aspects to my course right now, but obviously you can choose and pick courses that you want to do. You have that freedom here. You can pick courses barring your core course, which is allowed here in Germany, and you can also pick from different universities. So I have not picked any yet, but I plan to do that in my third or my fourth semester.
And Bhagya, you are also planning to have an international semester, right? A semester abroad option was given to you. So, what
Yes.
semester, where are you planning to finally do your next semester? And what are
I
your plans?
wanted to go to Finland, but the seats were taken. My second option was Italy. I'm going to the University of Trento. It is in the northern part of Italy, just within the Dolomites. And they are very famous for their economics and their business program there. So I'm going to be taking a mix of some subjects that I don't do here, probably something. And they also have a very good school of innovation, which was something that I was very interested in. I never thought that innovation could be taught. So I'm really interested to see how they are trying to inculcate the thought of innovation into a student. I've chosen some courses in that school. So I leave the starting of September. So I'll know what happens there then.
Fantastic. This is so exciting, isn't it? I also want to know about networking in Germany. Have you tried networking here, and how effective has it been if you have tried doing that? What did you do differently to connect with people?
Okay, where I am right now is the eastern part of Germany. There are not a lot of business opportunities here, especially when you just speak English. And networking is easy, and networking is open when you know German properly. Because, especially in my course, which is not a very, very technical course, it is still a business course, and the official language here is German. People like to communicate in German. So, here, if you know the language, it is easier to network and communicate, especially in business and sales fields or marketing fields. But there are obviously places like Berlin and Frankfurt and Düsseldorf, which is in the western part of Germany, where English is much, much more prevalent. There are a lot of expats there. And there are a lot of networking events that keep on happening where you can directly meet people from the fields you are interested in and talk to them. I haven't had the opportunity to attend a networking event in Berlin on the west of Germany yet, but I plan to go to them. But one thing I would say is the language helps you a lot. For students who think that they'll come here and do it, it is always better to start early, because as soon as you land here, you would within 2 or 3 days get to know that how important the language is, and that gets reinforced every day. So that is one thing that
So it's a
I would
very,
like to say.
very important piece of advice you are giving. I say the same thing to the students, that language is not a barrier, but it's a huge enabler if you make it happen. And I have
Correct.
seen that the minute you have achieved, at least a B2, because B1 is just about, striking a small conversation. But when you are able to get to a B2 level, you can have a comfortable short conversation with a German directly, and that's where your networking journey begins. That
Correct.
is
Correct.
where, and I think it's not that German is required for networking. It's just that you are more comfortable if you come across a native German who doesn't speak a word of English. And it's both ways, that we don't know German and sometimes they don't know enough English. So you have to meet midway, right? So
Correct.
and
Correct. Correct.
the people from different parts of the world who make that little effort to meet the Germans midway, a little with their language and a little broken English. And I have seen that Germans are really welcoming that effort. So because
Correct.
they also need somebody to understand that, not like, it's an aging population, and not everybody in 75 and above would be comfortable now suddenly learning English for you. And they could be your
Yes.
customers, they could be the ones you are interacting with, they could be your professors, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes knowing the language, especially in countries like Germany, can be a big, big enabler. I have one request for you, Bhagya. One line directly into the camera to someone sitting at a 295 GRE right now, dreading the next steps, deciding whether to retake it. What would you tell him or her?
Okay. I have two pieces of information, not one line. One
Okay.
is do it, actually do it. And secondly, don't pay for your any courses for GRE. There is this one platform I used which actually gave me a lot of confidence. It's called GregMat, GREGMAT. It charges a very minimal fee, around $4 a month, which is nothing. You've spent already a lot on the process. There is no harm in spending $4 more. And that is what actually gave me confidence to sit for the GRE. So these two things I would say, you can actually do this and you will face. And for people who think that math is tough, math is not tough. If you were a great student till your 7th or 8th standard in an Indian school, your math is already strong. What you have to work on is building more volume in your vocabulary. That would increase your scores by so many points that you would not understand how you got that score. So one piece of advice for people who actually are scared of the quant section, focus on the English and the vocab section, and you will get by easily, even if your math section is not good. So that is all I can say. That is what helped me. And 305 is a very average score, I think. Even if I would have studied for a month and following the same strategies I did after my first attempt, I could have easily gone to a 315 or 320. This is coming from someone who had a 300 or a 299 in his mocks and in his first attempt. So if I can do it, and since I am so scared of math, anyone can do it, I think.
and congratulations for doing it and making it this far. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Bhagya Bhardwaj. And if there is one thing you can take from this conversation today, is that admission, an admission letter, or just the admission is just the first step of the so many steps that one will take, right? So, it is just the beginning. It's
Yes.
just the beginning of your entire journey. It's not the destination. It just gets
Correct.
started after your offer letter.
It just gets started after you land in Germany. That is when
Yes.
you actually start.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
your
so
time
much.
today, and thank you for giving us this information. And I'm sure this is going to be something that future students will be able to better prepare and
I
take
hope so.
away.
Yeah.
If they are sitting on the fence, then you have probably just given them the right direction.
Probably. I
Thank
hope
you so
so
much.
that I was able to convince them. Yeah. No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, if there's one thing to take from this conversation, it's that admission letter isn't the finish line. It's just the starting gun. If you are sitting on a score that isn't quite enough yet, take it as a sign to try it just once more, not to stop. My name is Priya Rao, and this is Rebooted. New episodes drop regularly. Find us on Spotify, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Until next time, let's reboot your careers.